Welcome to the Mandel JCC's annual meeting. We now turn to our annual meeting chair, Kathy Fishman.
Last year at our annual meeting, which was postponed until September, we were 6 months into dealing with COVID-19. It changed everyone's lives. At the JCC, everything we did was done differently. Gail Temkin reminded us of how often we took for granted the simple things like walking through the doors of the JCC, swimming together in the pool, dropping into the family room, having lunch at the cafe, watching a joyful children's play or dance class performance in the theater. Our annual meeting is not yet live, but the JCC is gradually and safely returning to normal. I am proud to be a member of the Mandel JCC and to serve on the board of directors. My JCC story started with my extended family, who have been members of the JCC for over 50 years. So when we moved here in 1992, it wasn't a question in our minds that we would join. My son and daughter grew up at the JCC. It was our safe place, where everyone knew them and they knew everyone. They started at the ECC when they were babies and did every program the JCC had to offer, from dance, swim team, camp arena, Camp Shalom, sports jams, and Kids Corner. Both of my kids worked at the JCC, had their birthday parties here, and we all enjoyed the swim club and fitness center. David Jacobs was integral in convincing my husband to go to Israel when he was 18 through Let's Go Israel, and when he was planning the J's first family trip to Israel in 2012, we went. It was after this trip that I joined the board, and I'm honored and privileged to work with the amazing, dedicated, hardworking staff and board. As you will see later in the program, the JCC is a place that retains their staff. Not many organizations have employees for 20, 30, or even 40 years. I smile whenever I walk through the JCC and see an ECC teacher who had my daughter for 25 years ago. I think that says it all. Personally, I have also participated in several JCC committees over the years. I have chaired the Member Engagement Committee and co-chaired the Book Festival. I enjoy working with the staff as they really appreciate involvement from lay leaders and are always looking for ways to better the J. Also, as the Executive Director of Voices of Hope, our organizations work closely together to provide Holocaust programming for the community. I appreciate our partnership and the ability to provide quality programming to so many community members. The JCC has so much to offer, and I'm honored to be with you here at this year's annual meeting. Tonight, we look back on a year like no other, and we look ahead to the future with hope and resilience. It shows everywhere at the JCC and in our virtual world. Our fitness centers, summer camps, swim club, early childhood centers, senior adult programs, the book and film festivals. There's nothing quite like the Mandel JCC, a one-of-a-kind place. What a difference the J makes every day, every year. Our community is strengthened by many people and many institutions. Leading the Jewish community are the Jewish Federation and Jewish Community Foundation. During the pandemic, they have led community efforts to raise and distribute much-needed funds to the people, agencies, and synagogues of our Jewish community. We are honored each year to begin our annual meeting by hearing from these two cherished partners. Please welcome David Warren, President and CEO of the Federation, and Carolyn Gitlin, Chair of the Board.
A year ago, we sat in front of this camera and shared our David Letterman Top 10 Reasons Why We Love the JCC. It was about 2 months into the pandemic.
Everyone was in crisis mode. We were all staring into the abyss.
We had no idea how long it would last. We were uncertain about the health risks and appropriate precautions.
We didn't know what the impact would be on our community, its institutions, and our own families. While we aren't fully out of the woods, we can see light at the end of the tunnel.
We are beginning to resume our old routines and reacquaint in person with family and friends. And we can begin to look back, not just on the challenges of the past year, but also our successes.
And no agency has done more, not only to survive, but to thrive during the last year than the Mandel JCC. So here are our new top 10 reasons why we love what the JCC has done over the last year.
Reason number 10, you placed the health of your members and staff first.
Reason number 9, you continued whenever possible to keep the building open for safe activities.
Reason number 8, you also pivoted overnight to an incredibly rich array of effective online programming and in the process engaged new participants in creative ways.
Reason number 7, your virtual Israeli folk dancing.
Reason number 6, your innovative programming for families and children, including Camp Shalom at home.
Reason number 5, the best online film and book festival anywhere in the country.
Reason number 4, your online cooking with Chef Lindsay.
Reason number 3, your amazing virtual exercise classes.
Reason number 2, our ongoing partnership in support of PJ Library.
And drum roll please, reason number 1, you never stopped believing, you never gave up, and you are emerging stronger than ever.
Thank you, David Jacobs, Peter Fishman, and Gail Temkin. Thank you to all the staff and leadership of the Mandel JCC. We are proud to support your incredible work.
And now we welcome Jacob Schreiber, Foundation President and CEO, and Gail Temkin, Chair of the Board.
It's a pleasure for us to be part of the Mandel JCC's annual meeting and to celebrate and give a Yasher Koach to one of our community's most essential and treasured Jewish engagement and programming organization.
We can't overstate the impact a thriving JCC has on the overall vibrancy of Jewish communal life. Through its many programs, the Mandel JCC regularly brings wellness, meaning, and joy to thousands of people of all ages and backgrounds.
This is why the Foundation and its donors have supported the JCC each year through a variety of grants that help fund early childhood enrichment, the Jewish Film Festival, strategic planning, innovation, and so much more.
And this is why, when COVID-19 shut down and then curtailed the Mandel JCC's operations, the Foundation and Federation provided emergency funding to the Mandel JCC through our joint Rapid Relief and Recovery Fund, while encouraging our donors to continue supporting the Mandel JCC at or above their regular levels of giving.
And as the Mandel JCC reinvented itself by offering the entire community an array of free virtual programming to help ease isolation and keep the body and soul healthy, the Foundation's trustees provided $150,000 through our Community Grants Program to help ease its severe financial challenges caused by the pandemic.
Because of heroic efforts exhibited by the Mandel JCC staff and its leadership during the pandemic, coupled with the generosity of the Mandel Bronstein family and the JCC's generations of loyal members and donors, we see the Mandel JCC being well positioned to meet the changing needs of a post-pandemic world and poised to serve, stimulate, educate, and care for more people than ever before.
The Foundation is grateful to the Mandel JCC for the privilege of partnering with you to ensure our Jewish community's vitality today and for generations to come. May you go mechayo lechayo.
From strength to strength.
The presidents of the Mandel JCC's Board of Directors serve for a term of 2 years. More than half of Peter Fishman's time as president has been during the pandemic. He was called upon to engage and lead our board virtually as we focused on issues we've never confronted before. We are grateful to Peter for his leadership and support and welcome him to give his final report as he ends his term as president.
2 years ago, I stood here and humbly accepted the nomination to be president of the Mandel JCC. At that time, no one could have predicted how much things would change over the course of those 2 years. As a lifelong boater, I've had experience in weathering storms. No one could have known how stormy our seas would become. During my time as president, I've seen our community stand together and become more resilient, stronger, better prepared, now ready to emerge from the pandemic, all the while making the necessary decisions to be the place where we will come back together. I am proud of what we have accomplished together because together we were able to work through all the complex and constant changes that faced us. Within just days of the realization that COVID-19 would close our doors, we seamlessly charted a new course to the virtual world. We steered through uncharted waters and followed the changing navigational aids the state of Connecticut provided. While it was a year of tremendous loss and unspeakable obstacles, there were many silver linings. We came to understand how formidable our mission to build community really is, and we realized our incredible power to provide many of the lifelines that our community needs to stay afloat. COVID-19 may have turned our business model upside down, but it also served to accelerate certain trends that were already in the streaming and telecommuting pipelines. As I reflect on my term, I'm proud to have been part of a team of professional staff and dedicated volunteers that worked together to make sure we were doing everything in our power to keep everyone safe. At the same time, reinventing ourselves to be here for you. With little in the way of training or guidance, we grew virtual offerings, stayed connected with our ECC families, learned how to master Zoom meetings and many other new and sometimes unfamiliar programming. Our J has become reimagined in so many ways, and now, as the seas are calming, we again are learning how to reopen so that everyone can come back together through our doors feeling safe. One of the most important lessons that emerged is how much our members rely on the JCC as a beacon in challenging times. In turn, our community let us know the enormous value of the Mandel JCC in their lives by supporting our Crisis Fund and Crisis to Recovery Fund campaigns. We received 426 gifts by 307 new and repeat donors in excess of $431,000, all in a 9-month time span. This was in addition to the over 1,000 members who donated their dues or ECC tuitions to help support us. We continue to rely on our pace setters and the Mandel JCC Pillar Society, now in its 10th year. Our marketing team creatively worked with the entire staff to manage the countless details of our online presence, to send out J-Weekly e-blasts to tens of thousands of people, and to coordinate our many online postings. Our early childhood centers in West Hartford and Glastonbury stayed true to their mission to creating spaces where young families come together to learn from and support one another. Leading with commitment and values, the entire faculty quickly developed new ways to maintain connections with their children and parents in classes, both on Zoom and in live drive-by visits. Since reopening last summer, the ECC has been flowing with children. Through it all, we are providing the loving environments that have been cherished by generations. We continue to provide safe environments in our schools and recognize that we need to be prepared to continuously adapt and modify our spaces and policies. We stayed the course, always looking on the horizon so that we would be ready to emerge as things trended back to normal. Our summer directors prepared programs for children and families with necessary safety protocols. All the summer experiences at Camp Shalom, the Swim and Tennis Club, Sports Jams, JCC Indoor Camps, Shark Swim Team, and the ECC Morning Program will be there this summer in far bigger ways than last year. We know from the feedback we have received from families expressing their gratitude how important our programs are. The good news is that enrollment is increasing, and we know we have laid the groundwork to return to the numbers of previous summers. I am so grateful to our JCC staff who seamlessly transformed what they do into programs that streamed live into your homes, into programs like the Film Festival that you were able to watch sitting in your own home, exercise classes, Facebook groups, cooking classes, author talks, kids yoga, PJ library activities, senior book groups, a youth recreational program to keep our kids active and fit. All of this helped us grow our online presence and support you, our most valued resource. We now know that much of the change caused by the pandemic will permanently alter the way people live, interact, and work. The JCC will be a part of this change as we continue to reimagine our future. As we transition to an in-person J, it remains clear that our virtual and/or hybrid presence will remain essential in our community. We believe that the virtual JCC will continue as part of our program delivery, providing us with even more ways to build community by connecting people and providing important programs and services in person and wherever you might be. While we cannot be sure about every dimension of our future, we can be sure that the JCC will play an important part, circumnavigating through shifting trends and requirements in order to respond to the unique needs of our community. My experience as president has shown me that the JCC is fortunate in many ways. First, we have an executive director who does not leave the helm. He surrounds himself with thoughtful, engaged, skilled, and empathetic staff and lay people who have helped get the job done consistently in any weather. It has been my pleasure to work with David Jacobs. We are lucky to have him. I appreciate all he has done to keep us moving always in the right direction. Fortunate to have dedicated staff who have continued to get us open and keep us plotting a safe course. Appreciative for the support we receive from the Jewish Community Foundation and the Jewish Federation. We are committed to ensuring that their continued investment in the JCC provides significant and important returns. Grateful to you, our generous supporters on all levels, for standing by the JCC, believing in us, sustaining us, supporting us as we navigated through the pandemic. Lucky to have our wonderful JCC building and our satellite facilities and virtual platforms that allow us to provide programs in so many ways. We benefit greatly from devoted board members, officers, life members, and past presidents who bring their steady and continuous knowledge and energy, and for all of them going above and beyond in such turbulent times and being involved every step of the way. Grateful for the support of the Mandel Bronstein family, which in good times and bad have always been there for us. Thanks to the recent gift, we are in the process of expanding our programs, addressing deferred maintenance, and making exciting improvements. Thank you, Joyce and Andy, and your family for all that you do and making it possible for us to continually reimagine what we can do for our community going forward. I would like to welcome Brad Drazen as our new president. He and I both follow an amazing lineage of capable and caring leaders who have been great counsel to those who have taken this position. Brad has been so actively involved in every phase of our plans to deal with the pandemic. He is well positioned to guide us into the smoother waters that lay ahead. How can one person consistently give so much of herself? Gail Temkin has always been there for the JCC. She has been an extraordinary chair of the board, and we all owe her a huge thank you for all she has done to ensure our growth and survival through both normal and difficult times. Always available, thoughtful, and caring, always guiding us in the right directions, as if knowing what lies ahead. Thank you. And finally, more than anything, we are so fortunate to have all of you as our members, at all ages, stages, backgrounds, and interests. More than anything, we are lucky to have you. We are resilient. We have reimagined our future, one with all of us working together to make our JCC the best it can be. Better times are on the horizon, only a short distance away. We will always be here for you, and we know that it is because you will always be there for the JCC.
It's been an honor serving with Peter on the Mandel JCC board, especially over the past 2 years when I've been chair and he has been president. After this evening, he will be stepping into the important past president's role as board chair. I know we will all continue to benefit from his leadership, his careful way of confronting problems, his great expertise in everything related to our cherished building, his sensitivity to other people's needs and opinions. He understands the unique partnership between the Mandel JCC's lay and professional leaders. I know that every professional who worked with him knew they could rely on his participation and his insight, and the respect he has for the work they do. As he has expressed in his speech, this was a year like no other. Under his leadership, the J continued to make a difference. Peter, please join me at the podium. On behalf of the board and staff, we found a gift that we thought was perfect for you. It goes with your love of photography. We are pleased to present you with 3 historic photos: Israel in its early years, Jaffa, Eilat, and Sinai Desert.
Thank you so much for this beautiful gift.
We have always known how many great friends we have in our partners throughout the community. That couldn't have been any truer this year. Here, to recognize the great support we have received from our very special partners are Peter Fishman, Brad Drazen, and Annie Keith.
In a year when so many individuals and organizations supported the JCC, we came to realize that more than ever, we were all in this together, and we need each other to survive and thrive in the face of a crisis. While many needed the JCC's support during this time, we could not have been a true community center without those we honor tonight. We are presenting each organization with a tzedakah box. On the back, it says, "Giving tzedakah or charity is among the highest mitzvot commandments. This tzedakah box is taken of gratitude to our community partners for the boundless generosity and invaluable support. Mandel JCC, March 2020, June 2021." It is my great privilege to welcome Brad Drazen, incoming board president, and Annie Keith, Chief Operating Officer, as they tell you about the organization's individuals that we want to thank tonight.
In May of 2020, as we plan to reopen the JCC to provide much needed programs and services to our community, we knew that we needed the support of the medical community to make the right decisions on guidelines and operating procedures for both our staff and our participants. When we reached out to our friends at Trinity Health of New England, Hartford Healthcare, and Children's Medical Center, they immediately answered the call and provided us with contacts who would serve on our COVID advisory board. These medical professionals were incredibly detailed in their responses, and they always left us with, "Let me know if you need anything else." For months, we relied on them for advice and support, and we could not have managed this crisis without their expertise. In addition, as vaccines started to roll out, both Trinity Health of New England and Hartford Healthcare reached out to us to help facilitate getting our staff in line for their vaccination appointments. With all that these hospitals faced during this crisis, the level of support they offered to us was nothing short of extraordinary.
So we want to welcome and bring up representatives from our healthcare partners to come up here to the podium. First from Trinity Health of New England, Dr. Phil Rowland and Steve Kuntzman. Oh, I'm in? From Hartford Healthcare, Nicholas Arsenault and Lynn Rossini. And from Connecticut Children's, Dr. John Schreiber. In addition to the medical community, we also knew that connections within the state of Connecticut and the governor's office would be critical as we made plans to reopen and operate safely. As we planned for and managed childcare, camp, health and wellness, aquatics, and recreation, we had many questions and concerns. The first call was to Max Reese, the governor's communications director. From there, Max connected us with individuals across the various state departments who would answer our calls and emails throughout the crisis. And knowing how many calls and how many balls they had in the air, we are even more grateful now for their time, attention, and caring demeanor. We're also very pleased to have had the governor himself and Max join us in March as we marked the 1-year anniversary of the COVID crisis with a candle lighting ceremony in our gallery. So right now, please give a round of applause and welcome up Communications Director for the Governor, Max Reese.
It's now my great pleasure to recognize the town of West Hartford. Mayor Sherry Cantor and Town Manager Matt Hart. Throughout the crisis, Matt and Sherry were always looking for ways to bring the community together and stay connected. Matt and Sherry have been incredibly responsive whenever the JCC has needed their support or assistance, but especially when they gave us Amy Kraus. For her part, Amy guided a team dedicated to public service who showed their resiliency and flexibility by shifting gears immediately and providing support that was beyond our expectations. At the beginning of the crisis, I can't even look at you. At the beginning of the crisis, Amy assigned registered nurse Carol Stanky to the JCC, and upon reopening, we emailed and spoke with Carol on a daily basis for many months. We will never forget their grace and care under pressure. I just also want to mention that as we reopened and our staff were having a crisis of confidence, Amy and Carol gave up an entire evening to do a staff town hall so that the staff could hear from the real experts in the field about the fact that it was okay and it was safe to reopen the JCC. Amy, please join us. And many of you know, we are members of the Jewish Community Center of North America Association. And each year we pay dues to this organization that's made up of JCCs from around the country and Canada. When the pandemic closed our doors, JCCA suspended all dues payments and jumped into action by organizing calls with professionals in each department and affinity group. As the crisis continued, JCCA continued to organize, advise, and support us in ways we hadn't imagined. Our JCC staff found the organized meetings and events with their colleagues from around the country invaluable as we all worked to survive the crisis with each other's support. We are grateful to JCCA President Doron Krakow and his team from around the country for their guidance and inspiration at a time when we needed it most.
When the pandemic began, the Jewish Federation of Greater Hartford and the Jewish Community Foundation of Greater Hartford came together to raise much needed funds for the Jewish Hartford Rapid Relief and Recovery Fund to support the people, agencies, synagogues, and employees within the Jewish community who were experiencing financial hardship because of the pandemic. Their commitment to providing humanitarian relief and shoring up the financial capacity of our institutions helped us to continue providing our programs and services during these consequential times. The Mandel JCC is grateful to the lay leaders and professional leaders of both the Federation and Foundation, represented today by Bruce Fishman and Sydney Ulrich. So you could tell from the way Annie spoke so genuinely about this entire process that she's been living and breathing this since the middle of last March, in a way that you could only hope that a leader and a staff member at an agency like the Mandel JCC might approach their work in a time of crisis. And it's really, really phenomenal that it's not lost on anyone here, anyone, staff, your colleagues at the JCC, the lay leadership, and anyone in the community who you've touched base with, and there are many of us, since last March, with questions and looking for insights, that all of us understand how you saw this significant moment and you just went into it with all of your heart and soul and mind. And for that, we are forever, forever grateful. You are an expert networker to begin with, separate from COVID, but that has proven to be an unbelievable asset for our community and for the Mandel JCC. So we really could not have gotten through this year without you. So there's a box for you too, Annie. Everyone, please give her a round of applause.
Each year, we recognize staff who are celebrating milestone anniversaries. Starting at 5 years, we have honored employees who have been with us for as many as 40 years. Our community couldn't be more grateful to the people who work at the JCC. They have done such incredible work to keep us connected to one another.
David Jacobs, our Executive Director, Jen DeLay Pasternak, our Early Childhood Director, and I am Annie Keith, our Chief Operating Officer. We are here tonight to recognize staff anniversaries, and David is going to go first.
Hi, everybody. So every year is a special one as we recognize milestone anniversaries of our employees. But this one will always be remembered for the extraordinary contributions of the men and women who work at the Mandel JCC. From the moment we closed our facilities, the employees jumped into action. Some employees worked on the site from the beginning, managing our virtual presence, administrative functions, and building operations. People worked diligently on site at the JCC and our summer facilities to prepare for reopening. And many others worked remotely by creating outside our walls a virtual world of JCC programs and activities. They demonstrated that we are much more than a building or a place, that community can exist in so many exciting and creative ways. None of this was easy. Our staff embraced the opportunities they had to learn new skills and accept new responsibilities, and they, like so many others, were challenged to do this while balancing new demands at home, caring for family members, and supporting their children in remote learning. They have not let the community down. They rose to the occasion with determination and hope and enthusiasm to make sure that the JCC would be there for our members and the community. And while the pandemic has changed many things, it did not change the great resilience of our employees. It only made them stronger. They are among the frontline workers in our community, and I am proud to work with them. While tonight we recognize the employees for their anniversary years of service, we know you all join us in appreciating every one of them who make it possible for us to say, what a difference the J makes.
What a difference our teachers make. They are the heart and soul of the Beatrice Fox Arbach Early Childhood Center at the JCC in West Hartford and the Shirley Reback Early Childhood Center at Cole Havarim in Glastonbury. They are truly on the front lines of providing our youngest children with environments that are safe, nurturing, and grounded in a strong educational foundation. And they are why we are voted the best loved preschools in town. For 5 years at the JCC, we have Barbara Cheknoff, Kayla Green, and Sue Sylvia. For 15 years, we have Joe DeLay and Jill Rothstein. And for 20 years, we honor Lisa Krupsak. Lisa is truly one of a kind. Her passion for teaching is remarkable and comes across in the engaging environments and dynamic experiences she creates for the children in her classroom. Her creativity and enthusiasm are evident in the activities she provides and how well she understands young children. Her calm demeanor, intuitive personality, and love for all things early childhood are just some of the qualities that make her such a special member of the ECC team. Congratulations to Lisa on her 20-year anniversary. Thank you. And for 30 years with the ECC, we have Crispin Abbott. 30 years in the ECC is quite an accomplishment. Crispin has worked with every age group, babies through 4-year-olds. Over the past 30 years, she has built lifelong friendships with so many of our families and become a staple in our school. She has strong relationships with colleagues, and the JCC has become a second family to her. Children are drawn to Crispin's storytelling and singing, and her warmth is felt by all. We congratulate Crispin on her 30-year career in the Early Childhood Center.
The staff that we recognize today from Recreation and Wellness and the Women's Spa make a difference every day in providing our members with the best and safest facilities, programs, and activities. They are the spirit of the JCC and why we are voted the best of West Hartford every year. First, for 5 years, from Group Fitness, Laura Barish and Meredith Leno, and one of our favorite fitness specialists, Samantha Shelton, and also from St. Francis Group Fitness, Sandy Collins and Heidi Goldsmith. And with us for 10 years from Recreation and Wellness, the Women's Spa, Doreen Matthews, and Peter United, now for 20 years. Arlene Allison Richards is a staff member we wish we could clone. She's been here for 20 years. She's a hard worker who always has a smile on her face. Arlene's attention to detail and pleasant nature are supreme. Whether she's working in the Women's Spa or in the Early Childhood Center, she knows all the members and children's names. As a matter of fact, during COVID, since she spent a lot of time in the Early Childhood Center, the toddlers can tell that she's got the moves when they dance together in the hallways on their way to class. I think that'll be a COVID keeper too. Arlene, if you could come to the podium, please, so we can congratulate you on 20 years of service.
The next group of employees serve our JCC in programming and administration. Their role in providing and supporting the JCC's programs cannot be overstated. They are the backbone of the JCC. They are how we make a difference. Here for 10 years, our dance instructor, Pamela Shapiro, and 15 years, our adult director, Sharon Holtzberg. There is something that is quietly remarkable about Kim Corona Sharon, here at the JCC for 20 years, the last 5 as Chief Financial Officer. Calm, considerate, and so very capable, Kim lives and works by a code of standards and ethics that never waver. Kim's job puts her in the middle of many responsibilities at the JCC, including finances, budgeting, human resources, and supervision. But where else in the world can a money person also get to practice her most cherished of passions? Kim is director of the J School of Dance, that before COVID had grown to over 150 children, and it will again. Thank you to the multi-talented Kim Corona Sharon for giving us 20 great years. And now, Donna Goldstein, Executive Administrator, 35 years. It seems like Donna Goldstein has always been at the JCC. I was the Associate Director when she came on board as Executive Secretary. And I remember she knew shorthand, and also how she always humored me when I would say, "Could you take a letter?" But that was only her beginning. When you're at a place for 35 years, you have an opportunity to be on the forefront of almost anything. Donna quickly became the expert on the JCC's original customer relation management software, Joshua, and with each subsequent software program that came around for the JCC. She has always been the go-to person when staff needs important information, lists, and data. In fact, she knew so much about the program that I asked her to come to my new JCC in Rochester to help launch their new Joshua program. For the last 15 years, Donna has worked with us to manage the operation of the Board of Directors and to support the important growth in our fundraising and development efforts. Donna has been a part of our JCC family for 35 years, and while she is no longer here full-time, we are grateful that she continues to work with us and our development programs. Donna.
Honoring 40 years of service at the JCC is rare, and there have only been a few who've been honored at this level. These are people who found a home and never left. 40 years, pretty incredible.
Karen Wyckoff came to the JCC, well, then she was Karen Bloom, and she started as a camp secretary in 1981. It took no time for us to realize that she was a capable and dedicated part of our JCC family. We worked together for 4 summers at Camp Shalom, and even today find ourselves laughing at the same jokes and warm memories that we carry in our hearts. Over the years, Karen has held many jobs in addition to camp secretary, registrar, office manager, HR manager, swim club manager, and of course, director of Camp Shalom.
That started in 1999 when Karen was asked to assume the role when the camp director unexpectedly left the JCC. She took a one summer's respite to run the swim and tennis club and enthusiastically returned to be Camp Shalom director and youth director in 2002, positions she held consistently until last summer. Countless young people can say that their first boss was Karen, and we're really grateful for that. For 21 summers, and she's not done. Starting this year, as she turned the reins over to the best trained new camp director, she is now the chief program officer.
During her time here, Karen has raised two beautiful daughters who grew up at the JCC, and she's had the privilege of being a part of the lives of thousands of children and their families. CITs from the earliest years are now sending their children to Camp Shalom. That's quite an amazing record, one that she should be very proud of. I know we are all very proud and very grateful. Karen, could you come up? I know all of you join me in congratulating our staff on their anniversaries and thanking all the employees at the Mandel JCC. Thank you.
The JCC began honoring outstanding leaders in 1957, and over 60 men and women have been recognized for their extraordinary contributions. In 2001, the award was named in memory of Gerald Steinberg. Here to present this year's award is past President Richard Vector.
The JCC began honoring its leaders for exemplary contributions in 1957 with the Outstanding Leadership Award. In 2001, it was renamed to honor the memory of Jerry Steinberg. Gail Temkin is the 59th recipient of the Gerald Steinberg Leadership Award. Gail, too many good things need to be said about you in too little time. So it was easier for me to borrow some of your words and expound on them. In a JCC newsletter, you wrote a page entitled, Our Donors, Why They Do It. You wrote, and I quote, "The JCC is like a hub of a wheel, with its arms extending into every corner of our community," end quote. With your team-building skills, compassion, commitment to Jewish and community values, philanthropy, and humility, it is hard to tell whether you are at the very center of the hub or whether you are all the spokes, gifting your time, energy, wisdom, and passion to a multitude of community endeavors. Frankly, I like to think of you as the entire wheel, always in motion, always moving forward, always getting the rest of the vehicle to come along for the ride, and getting it to where it needs to be. We frequently talk about pillars at the JCC, and we have a gift category specifically with that name. Often, we incorrectly limit the term to individual financial contributions alone, and we disregard other aspects of the word, such as leadership, ambassadorship, intelligence, energy, focus, and work ethic. In your case, your ongoing philanthropy is equally balanced by the other significant attributes of being a pillar. Most importantly, your pillar status is not limited to the JCC alone, and your work on behalf of Solomon Schechter, the Foundation, medical legislation, and other worthwhile causes makes you a pillar of our entire community, and not just the JCC. When Aristotle wrote his views about citizenship and education, he may as well have been thinking about you. On your donor page, you depicted how Rhonda and Pam, along with David, Annie, and Alyssa's teachers, went above and beyond to accommodate your family. You wrote, "This is who they are. It made me never want to leave." That sentiment is reciprocal. By virtue of presenting to you the Steinberg Leadership Award, I speak for our staff, our board, previous recipients, and the community at large that we want and need you to continue enhancing us with your leadership, humor, grace, passion, and friendship. May your last 4 years combined of being president and chair of the board be only the beginning of a very long and enjoyable ride. Thank you for all you have done and will continue to do. Gail, may you please step to the podium? On behalf of all those mentioned, I present to you the Gerald M. Steinberg Outstanding Leadership Award, presented to Gail W. Temkin, awarded in recognition of unprecedented service to the community, for so generously sharing her knowledge and expertise, for her philanthropy and generous spirit, for her leadership, devotion, and vision, for helping to advance the mission of the Mandel JCC. We officially present this to you at the 106th annual meeting, Wednesday, June 23rd, 2021.
Thank you, Richard, for this award. You've been a true mentor. I followed in your footsteps from the beginning, and I so appreciate it. I am so grateful and humbled to receive the Gerald M. Steinberg Leadership Award and be honored as part of a group of so many accomplished and dedicated individuals who've done so much in the Jewish community and with the Mandel JCC. This has been an outstanding journey, and I am proud to have been given the opportunity to lead in this community. Find what you love, get involved, stand up and step up. Look for the organizations in the community that you want to be involved in. Find things that are meaningful and purposeful to you and your family. If you can't find them, then create them. Work with organizations, work with leaders, work with other people in the community. Make a difference, make a change, but stand up and lead. Not all of us are able to get involved in a way that we would like all the time. But that doesn't mean that you cannot go out and make a difference. We live in a very interesting world, and we have just gone through one of the craziest years that any of us will have probably experienced. Take this opportunity to do something, to say something, to be a part of something. I am so blessed that I was able to begin my leadership journey at the Mandel JCC. I always knew I wanted to be involved in the community where I would raise my family, and the JCC allowed me to do just that. I found what interested me, I stepped up, I spoke up, and today I'm saying thank you. I welcome and challenge each and every one of you to join me in this leadership journey. It's an opportunity of a lifetime. I would like to thank my many mentors, way too many to mention here, those who led before me and taught me what it's like to be a true leader. Everybody brings different skills to the table. What I learned from my mentors is the understanding of leadership, community, and commitment. Thank you. This will be forever cherished.
We can't express enough our gratitude to the Mandel Bronstein family for their support and unparalleled generosity. We are so honored to welcome Joyce Mandel to share news about the President's Courtyard.
This year has been particularly difficult, but here we are at our community's most trusted institution on every level. We thank our members and our community for supporting us as we continue to move through the challenges we face. There are always new challenges when your achievement bar is set high and your track record is Olympic gold. I believe that our JCC is a unique neighborhood, one that provides our members with the ability to engage in diverse, usable spaces for all generations. Our professional team, along with our board, have developed a concept of the JCC as a home away from home. Every time we expand or renovate, every time we make a decision about space, it's with the intention of being a place that is open and welcoming. Our goal is for our members and guests to enjoy their time at the JCC, to feel safe, to belong, and to be comfortable. It was the reason that we created the living room and cafe, opened up the gallery so that we can walk through it and not around it, changed the entrance floor from red brick to a light, bright tile, and used warm and interesting colors in the furniture and art. However, there was always one more project that we knew had to be addressed. When we completed the 1990 expansion with the preschool, pool, and gallery, the old entrance off Bloomfield Avenue became a dead-end turnaround with no useful purpose. While it was always our intention to do something about it, time passed and other priorities always arose. It was an eyesore that needed our attention. Finally, several years ago, we came up with a concept for a courtyard, a new outdoor space to complement our beautiful indoor spaces. We worked with Ching Lin of Outdoor Artistic Designs to come up with a plan. We invited ideas from a group of students from the University of Hartford's Art School. And then the Temkin family, the Zacks family, Renee and Bob Samuels, joined our family to provide the funding. It was during the time the building was closed due to the pandemic that we were able to do the extensive demolition and reconstruction of the space, along with providing new landscaping and plantings. The result is our new President's Courtyard, an outdoor space that gives us many new opportunities to hold events and programs and to provide social spaces for our members. With 2 bar mitzvahs, a wedding, family room Shabbat, spin classes, and yoga under our belt, we're off to a great start. We are naming it the President's Courtyard as our way to honor the men and women who have led the JCC for over 100 years. Coming this summer will be the President's Wall, a tribute to our past presidents and a recognition of their leadership. We will officially dedicate the garden and the President's Wall this summer as we thank the families for their support and celebrate the establishment of the President's Courtyard Endowment Fund. This endowment fund is contributed by our past presidents and their families. Just one more way to demonstrate the difference the JCC makes inside and outside, every day and every year.
The Mandel JCC Board of Directors has spent the last year on Zoom, meeting virtually every month, providing leadership to the J and support to our staff and members. Their interest, commitment, and generosity makes such a difference and is part of the formula behind the successes we have experienced as we navigate our way through these uncharted waters. I know that the staff turns to many of us for myriad purposes, demonstrating how the lay-professional partnership works to the advantage of the agency. The nominating committee is responsible for presenting a slate of nominees to stand for election to the Board of Directors each year at the annual meeting. We thank the following board members for their services to the JCC and wish them all the best: Ashley Doran, Amy Filoto, Richard Order. Board members nominated for a new term: Stanley Cherney, Richard Fechter, Kathy Fishman, Monica Gold, Dennis House, Fran Landy, Robert Newman, Avinoam Pat, Rachel Schilberg, David Weiner, and Ellen Woodruff. Nominated for one-year terms as officers: President Bradford Drazen, Vice Presidents Kathy Binder, Merrill Braunstein, Stephen Greenspan, Matthew Hoffman, Robert Krug. Secretary Karen Tuvin. Treasurer Joshua Feldman. Chair of the Board Peter Fishman. Nominated for new terms on the board are Stein Helmrich, Molly Polk, Amanda Katzman, Dr. Evan Schiff, Rachel Lutzker-Jorgensen. Our bylaws state that the members vote for the board nominees at the annual meeting. Since we are not with you together at the JCC, we will open a poll and ask that you vote yay or nay in the next minute for the slate as presented. am pleased to announce that the slate has been accepted by the membership. Thank you for agreeing to give us your time, talent, and resources as leaders of the Mandel JCC. Whether you are continuing for additional terms, taking on new roles, or joining the board for the very first time, I hope you will find your board service to be a meaningful and satisfying experience. The years ahead of us will definitely be different. They will be challenging, and they will be impactful. Thank you for being a part of our leadership journey. And now, our new president, Brad Drazen.
The Jewish Community Center is home to me. Growing up in upstate New York, the Binghamton JCC played an integral role in the first 18 years of my life. From preschool to youth sports, teen leadership, and theater, my JCC upbringing was a formative influence on the person I am today. My history at the Mandel JCC begins even before I spent a single day living in this community. In December of 1999, I got a job at NBC Connecticut, very excited. We had a young son, and we thought we need to get him into a preschool. And I had gone to preschool at the JCC in Binghamton, and I said to my wife, Lauren, let's call the J. So it turns out there's a family who was leaving town that had a child in the 2-year-old program. I think the word is beshared, right? So there was a spot, and our son Noah immediately enrolled in the 2-year-old program at the ECC, and the rest, as they say, is history. Looking back, our oldest friends in the community are those parents from that first 2-year-old program at the ECC, people who we met in the very first few months that we arrived in West Hartford early in the year 2000. Our kids grew up here at the JCC. So all three went through the Early Childhood Center, shared the stage with their classmates for Star Night, which is, as you know, amazing. They participated in arts programs, sports programs, teen theater, 10 years of sitting through those wonderful shows with the other parents felling with the kids on stage. Amazing, amazing time. Summers at Camp Shalom, swim and tennis club, and we can even count a few first jobs for our kids between sports jams and Kids Corner. Personally, I've spent the last 15 years on the board of directors here at the JCC, learning alongside staff like David, Annie and Kim, Karen, Frank, Bonnie, and Leah. I've also reaped the benefits of listening to and learning from a long line of phenomenal volunteer role models. In fact, I've served on the board under 8 different presidents. Here's the list: Mel, Brian, Bobby, Teddy, Richard, Jeffrey, Gail, and of course, Peter. All of them are true leaders, but they all have different styles and strengths, and they all share a passion for the Mandel JCC and what we provide for our members and the community at large. I'm also very fortunate to say that I've done a tour of duty on nearly every board committee there is at the Mandel JCC. I said fortunate, David. From camp to swim club, fitness to finance, it has been a long, gradual learning curve, but I do feel very well prepared to assume the role of president of the board of directors. So as I look ahead to the next 2 years of my presidency, there is certainly a lot of work to be done. What we've experienced here at the JCC, throughout the community, the country, and around the world is nothing short of truly life-altering. Now, as we emerge from this dark time, there is great reason for hope, and there is opportunity ahead of us. But success won't come easily. I am really pleased to be working alongside an amazing group of JCC staff members and a fantastic cadre of volunteer leaders whose insight and passion for this place will provide a guiding light as we navigate this new post-pandemic world. But there's no shortage of tasks to handle and hurdles to clear, and I've identified a few specific goals that I think are achievable over the next 12 months. Front and center is the challenge of rebuilding our membership. Pre-COVID, we were near record levels of people, families, seniors, teens, and adults coming in our doors and using our facilities for a wide array of activities that fed their bodies, minds, and spirits. In the 12 months beginning last March, our membership numbers dwindled significantly. But there is good reason to be optimistic, and here's why. Over the past couple of months, the number of people swiping into the fitness area has increased consistently week over week. For the summer, the number of camper weeks, the way we measure our success in the summertime, the number of weeks kids have signed up for, is already approaching our final totals for the end of the last pre-pandemic year of 2019. Think about that. That is good reason to feel optimistic. Imminently, though, the next few months are going to be extremely important to build out our health and wellness offerings, focusing on not just the physical aspects of wellness, but the mental and emotional aspects that all of us are feeling as we emerge from the pandemic. This will enable us to hit the ground running when the summer ends, the school year starts, and we kind of resume our normal routines in our lives and in our interaction here at the JCC. So we have to lay the groundwork this summer, planning, outreach, enhanced programs with added value offerings to bring our members back and also engage new members in the community to join us here at the Mandel JCC. With the remarkable commitment of our staff, exemplified during the past 15 months in particular, the future looks bright. With the generous gifts from the Mandel Bronstein family that have been invested in upgrades to this fantastic facility and innovative programming, the future looks bright. With you who are watching tonight, the most loyal members of the JCC are raving fans, coming back and sharing with your friends and neighbors the benefits of being part of the JCC family. The future looks bright. 1 year from now, I hope to be standing here addressing you again, unless I'm impeached, I guess, delivering the president's address, and hopefully we'll be in the theater and there'll be a couple hundred people and we'll all be sharing a physical space together and we'll have a glass of wine afterward. That sounds good. I'd love to be able to be highlighting the progress we've made, celebrating our successes, and telling the story of how so many families and individuals in our community have learned something that I've known for the past 20 years. The Mandel JCC is home.
Change is not always easy. Figure in an unexpected global pandemic, and as Charles Darwin said, it is not the strongest or the most intelligent who will survive, but those who can best manage change. That's our Mandel JCC. During the past 14 months, the JCC renewed its commitment to finding innovative and meaningful ways to continue bringing people together. Never has the JCC supported its mission more than it has during this crisis, nurturing people and connecting community each day through every age, all inspired by Jewish values. Thank you to the entire staff who never stopped reminding us what community really means. And to our members, how do we ever truly thank you for staying with us, having faith in us, and so generously supporting the JCC during this extraordinarily historic and consequential time. As we close this evening's annual meeting, we wish you all good health. We look forward to coming together more and more in person in the days ahead. What a difference the J makes. Truly, this year and every year, the 106th annual meeting is now adjourned.